Hey, it's Dr. John DeWitt here, and thanks for tuning in. Sorry I had some technical issues earlier, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a sneak peek into the talk that I gave on one of our cruises recently that talks about natural vision correction, the Bates method, different exercises, nutrition, things like that. After that, I'm going to come back and we're going to address some of the most recent advances in natural vision correction. And yes, I'm not wearing these glasses for no reason. So we're going to address that, just a little sneak peek, a little hint. But we're going to talk about that more afterwards. Enjoy, and I'll see you back as soon as the little clip's over with.
You're going to learn practice.
So I noticed, I was kind of looking around before I started, that there are about 10 out of 30 or so have glasses here. So this is going to be very helpful. Hopefully, it's a story about how, it's not a story, but part of it is a story about how I wore glasses since the 8th grade, and what I did after I learned this allowed me not to wear glasses anymore, which is kind of nice. So we're going to talk about the Bates method. I don't know if anybody knows William H. Bates from back in 1892. Norm, I'm sure you do, because you seem to know a little bit about everything. But back in 1892, he was an ophthalmologist, very successful, and was doing what all his other colleagues were doing. He was having people come in, doing the little eye test, giving them their glasses, and every time they would come in, he noticed they kept getting stronger and stronger prescriptions, and he said, this isn't working. It's not. No one's getting better, they're just getting worse, and I'm just keep adding to it by giving them stronger and stronger prescriptions. So he said there's got to be a better way. So what he did is he started researching different exercise techniques, breathing techniques, hydration, nutrition, things like that, and came up with some exercises that actually started seeing people getting better and not needing their glasses as much, and actually getting a weaker prescription when they would come in. So they actually were starting to see better. And so that's what this is going to be about. We're going to also talk about nutrition, some surprising foods, and even chiropractic and how that applies, which I was kind of surprised about. I didn't even know that was the case. So here's the background I just was telling you about Dr. Bates and some of his students. Margaret Corbett, that was an interesting one back in the 40s. She was taken to court twice because the things that she was teaching, and some of the things we'll talk about in a minute, were some of the Bates methods, and they said that she was going to burn people's retinas with what she was teaching. And she had over 300 actually she had a lot of celebrity clients. She had a lot of people come into court and testify, say, I'm fine, and they were tested and they were totally fine. So both of those cases got thrown out. This other individual he was a PhD, did a 2-year study on vision for the Vision Training Institute, and found that there were several cases where people did improve their vision naturally. These other two here, I had to throw them in because they're the official people that study vision, and in both of those cases they were like, well, we don't see any seriously statistically significant proof that this actually works, so we're going to say it doesn't. And in my case, I don't care if they found any proof or not, because I know it worked in my case, so I don't care what they say. But there's always somebody that says it doesn't work. So this is kind of a neat little diagram of how the brain works, because when we see something, the light image comes in through the lens, and you have these little ciliary muscles that are all the way around the lens called the ciliary body that contract and relax to help control the thickness of the lens. And old school way of thinking is that's how you focus, it's just the thickness of the lens, and that's all you can do. So the light comes in there, hits the fovea centralis in the back, which is right there by the macula, and then it goes to the optic nerve, and then it goes all the way to the back of the brain. Now this is not to scale image, obviously, because the brain's much smaller, unless this is like an MD or something. But so anyway, so the light images come back here to the visual cortex in the very back of the brain, and that's actually where they're interpreted. And when we see, there's a great study I watched where they put glasses on people that were getting married, and it was kind of one of those Mythbuster kind of things. And the way these glasses worked is that it changed the vision that you saw by 30 degrees. And so they put the glasses on them, and it showed with the camera what it looked like to things. And so they're like reaching over here, but it's over here, and they're like knocking stuff over. But after about 20 minutes, their brain actually readjusted to those glasses, and they were able to grab everything like it was fine. And so they were like, that's kind of cool. I wonder if it would work just the opposite. So when they took the glasses off and they had their regular vision, they were bumping into things again because they couldn't see, because their brain was already practiced and rehearsed for the glasses. So that just shows that we don't technically see with our eyes, but we see with our brains. And so that's what this really works on. So here's my story. That's the best picture I could find. Wearing some glasses that only cover about half my face. But when I was a kid, I always wanted to wear glasses because I thought that the people that wore glasses were really smart, and I was like, that's really cool. And so finally the optometrist said you can wear glasses. I said, okay, great. And so I was wearing my glasses, but then I started playing football, and you can't really wear glasses when you're playing football. It makes it, you can have the little goggle things, those look kind of weird. I know Eric Dickerson did that, but that's about the only guy that pulled it off. So this was me at Vanderbilt, and then with the Oilers for a minute. And it was one of those things where I could wear contacts, but I'm always touching my face. And when you're playing football, you got the sweat running in your eyes, and and there's grass flying up, and it's just not a fun way to go. So it wasn't really working for me. So I really chose to go blind half the time, because I was just like, I don't want to mess with the contacts. I'll just kind of see and kind of have a feeling for how it works, and that doesn't do too well. So here I am later with my nice gray beard. So I went to chiropractic college and became a chiropractor. That looks so weird, but okay. So I don't know why. It was easy because I was good. I was trying to be like him. That's all it was. So when I went to chiropractic college, it was really cool because I learned all about natural healing and how the body's built to heal itself. And the reason I became a chiropractor was the team chiropractors on all the different football teams I played with. I played for 12 years in NFL, CFL, XFL, AFL, all kinds of FLs. So it was one of those things where the team chiropractors were just like, well, what are you going to do after football? And I said, okay, I definitely need to make a plan for what I'm going to do after football, because I don't know. And they were like, well, you want to be an orthopedic surgeon? Because they said you had big hands, so you can't really do anything but that. And I was like, okay, well, how long is that going to take? And I was like, oh, like 10 years. I'm like, no. And so then I was like, well, what about chiropractic? You guys are pretty cool, and I love biology. And he was like, yeah, it's a good idea. I got a 5-year program condensed into 3, which was kind of nice, except there were no breaks. But, it's just time. You're fine. So I ended up saying I need to come up with a natural way, and that's how I found the Bates method and came up with this kind of approach, because I didn't really think that big a deal. I was like, yeah, it's great, I get to see, but then I started telling some patients about it, and they really were like, well, you should talk more about this, because I didn't even know that was an option. So I said, oh, okay. So hence we have this. So this is the eyeball. You have 6 extraocular muscles on the outside of the eyeball, and which one is it? The internal rectus is not shown here, the one that pulls it towards the eye. And so like we said before with the lens and the ciliary body, how it changes the thickness of the lens, and that's how you actually focus the imprint or the image on the back of the eye on the retina. You can also do that by changing the shape of the eyeball with the extraocular muscles. So that's what we do with these different exercises. So if it's pulling really tight on one side, then it's going to distort that eyeball, and it's not going to be the right shape. And so obviously, if you have a projector showing on a screen here, if you move the screen up, then the image is going to be behind the screen. That's the same as being farsighted. But if it's too far back and it's focusing the image here, then it's going to be just like you're nearsighted. And the same thing is if you're changing the shape of the eyeball, which is what that image shows. So normal focuses it right directly on the focal point in the back. Farsighted, it's behind the retina, and nearsighted, it's in the front. So the solution is, instead of focusing here and doing LASIK, and if you've done LASIK already, these exercises still work, because you're actually just changing where the screen, so to speak, is focused and where it is located. So if this is the case, if you're farsighted, you can see far away, but you can't read. What you do here is you work on these muscles, and it actually is going to make this shorter, it's going to make that longer, so it focuses right there. And if you're nearsighted, which a lot of people nowadays are actually more nearsighted because they're focusing on phones, iPads, and things like that. There's a lot of kids now that are coming out that are nearsighted because they're so focused like this, and they look up and they're like, I can't see. It's because of that. So all you have to do here is to bring the retina closer and have it right there where it's focused. So one of the first exercises he talks about is belly breathing. So I'm going to try to demonstrate on my nice little chair here. Because breathing, Dr. Bates said that if you're stressed and you're trying to see better, you're not going to see better because you've already lost the game because you have to be relaxed. Because if you're stressed, that builds tension, and tense eyes can't see well. So what you do, you're sitting like this, you have the breath coming in the nose, and the belly, see that was wrong, I was bad right there because the shoulders went up. And that's how everybody goes. I know you were going, whoa, that's not right. So what you do is you breathe in through the nose and the belly should come out. Hence the word belly breathing. And then when you breathe out, the belly goes in. So it's in through the nose, out through the mouth. And that's called diaphragmatic breathing. And you can drastically increase the amount of oxygen you get into your lungs when you're doing it this way. And also you'll notice the hands here, they're cupped. This is a little visualization type technique. You have the cupped here when you're breathing in. Oh, I did it wrong again. Okay, belly out. And then when you flatten it out, you flatten your hands. And so if you do this a few times, you start to kind of realize there's a connection between when you have the hands cupped and you can feel like a movement in the eyes. It's really kind of a freaky thing, but it's amazing relaxation technique. And another thing, you don't want to stare. A lot of times people are trying to see better, like if I'm trying to see that sign, I'll like squint and stare. You're supposed to blink once every 2 to 3 seconds. And most people don't blink for 30 seconds or longer, especially if you're working at a computer. So if you're trying to see something, you don't want to stare, you don't want to squint, because when you squint, that's tension, and tension's bad. So you want to blink. So you blink, and the tears create a natural lens over the eye itself, and that actually helps you to focus better. And it's one of those things where we're not trying to tell you, or I'm not trying to tell you, if you can't see something, I don't want you to tell yourself, oh, I can see that fine, when you can't. That's a lie, and your brain knows that. But what you do is you just accept what you can see, and you embrace that, and try to get away from the, I need my glasses to see, I need my glasses to see, because subconsciously you keep telling yourself, I need this crutch. And that's how Bates looked at it. He's like, glasses are like a crutch on a leg that's broken. It assists it, but it doesn't actually help heal the problem. And so that's what these exercises do. This is an easy thing. Everybody can do this one. It's just an energetic yawn. And so when you yawn, it helps relax the jaw muscles. And so once again, we're trying to go for relaxation. You don't want the tension. And it helps to oxygenate the brain and the eyeballs themselves. Everybody's making me yawn now. Stop it. It's contagious. This is a fun one too. These are just eye exercises you can do in the mornings. So you're sitting there, you can look up, over this way, and just down. You can go clockwise, you can go counterclockwise, because that's working all those 6 extraocular muscles to help stretch them out. And the interesting thing is, I like to talk about with this one, if you ask somebody a question and you want to know if they're telling the truth or not, if they're telling the truth, they're going to look up and to your left, but if they're making something up, they're going to be looking up and to your right, because they're accessing different parts of the brain with the way they look. And it's a micro expression for people that are aware of this. They'll just look really quick and then they'll kind of look away. So you have to, if you're into that kind of thing. Here's another exercise, because part of the Bates method is you want to really focus on movement. You want to be nice and relaxed. You don't want to have stress. You do your deep breathing. You want to yawn, but you also want to do this. This is called the sway. And so when you're looking straight ahead and you're just kind of swaying back and forth like this, which is really easy when you're on a boat, you're going back and forth. And when I go to the left, I notice that everything I'm looking at seems to be going in the opposite direction. And it's called oppositional movement. So when you get used to that kind of stuff, it's just kind of getting your brain used to how things actually work. And the neat thing you can do is when you're taking a step forward, are you going forward or is the world going backward? And it's kind of like a weird, okay. So the sway is one of those interesting little things. Okay, the long swing, this is a little more advanced. We even have a little illustration for this one, which is good because I'm not very good at it. So you stand here like this, and you want to keep the head and the torso together. You don't want to turn your head and then turn the torso. And so then you just turn this way. It's kind of like a nice golfing warm-up. And so you're doing this, just like this. And as you're doing this, you're keeping your eyes nice and relaxed, and noticing how everything's moving in the opposite direction as you swing. So that's really important. Also make sure you're doing your deep breathing when you do this as well. The cross crawl, this is something we talk about a lot in the office, and the cross crawl is a mechanism that helps to stimulate both hemispheres of the brain. And so for a lot of people, if they have different neurological conditions and they can't stand up, we have a patient from Barbados that is just the most adorable guy, Lenrich. More power to you. We have him sit there and we get him to kick his legs alternating sides, and so that's engaging both hemispheres of the brain. That's going to help heal faster. If you have a broken arm, if you work out the opposite arm, even though you can't work out the broken arm, it's going to help that arm heal faster. So it's that same mentality. So this one, okay, I'll try to demonstrate. So you're looking straight ahead again, and it's just opposite side. Opposite side is a lot harder than it looks, especially on a boat. Now this is what I did, and people tell me all the time, you should not tell people how long it took you to get rid of your glasses because they won't believe you, and I'm like, I'm an honest guy, I gotta tell you how long. Food's true story. Come out, and I am just like, I'm sick of these glasses, let me try some of these exercises. And now, the beginning level of this, you have your eyes closed. I was not aware of this at the time. So it was really funny. So what you do is you find the sun, I think it's back there now. You find the sun, face the sun, and what I did personally, looked up at the sun with my eyes open and did my hands like this back and forth. And so it was very difficult to do, it was very painful. But part of that is because the eyes are so fatigued and so tired, and that's why it gets really sensitive to the eyes. So what I recommend, have your eyes closed, you look up at the sun, and when you do this helps block some of the ultraviolet radiation into the eyes, so that it helps protect it. And that actually is going to help stimulate vitamin D. Vitamin D3 is really important. The heat from the sun feels good, which is always good. Creates that strobe light effect, which is good. Helps heal the rods and cones, which are the specialized cells in the eye that help you see, basically. The cones are seeing the color, and the rods are the dim light. That's kind of a neat trick too. If you're in a really dark room and you're trying to figure out where the door is, and you know it's kind of lit up, but like you can see it out of the corner of your eye, but when you look right at it, you can't see it. That's because when it's off to the side like this, it's hitting the rods, but when you look right at it, the cones can't pick up that low light image. So you kind of have to look off to the side to be able to see where the door is. It's kind of a neat trick. Anytime you do sunning, you have to do palming afterwards, because now you've stimulated the light, stimulated the cells. Now you want to relax the cells. So what you do, I don't know why I'm turning this way, it's just that's how I'm going to do it. So you should be sitting in a chair. You can sit at a table. You can they literally have little posts with armrests like up here that you can use. Anyway, so you sit, no, I'll turn this way. So you sit, have your elbows at 90 degrees, put the palm of your right hand on your right cheekbone and cross your fingers across your forehead. And then you do the same with the left, and you're doing your deep breathing, belly breathing only, through the nose, out through the mouth. And as you do this, with every breath, you start thinking about just darkness. It's the really dark black, it's black as it can be. And at first, you're going to see little flashes of light, especially if you're used to looking at computers and things like that. So you just want to do your deep breathing. I'm all paranoid about my shoulders now. And what that does, it helps rebuild what they call visual purple in the eyeball, and that's going to help you see. And like I said before, you need to start doing this at least 5 minutes a day if you can. The longer you do it, the better you're going to be. There was a story I read about a guy that did it for 21 hours, and he didn't wear glasses again for, what was it? No, I think it was like 8 years, 7 years, something like that. But back to the sunning thing. When I did that for about 15 seconds, and I didn't wear glasses again for 2.5 years after that. That was the little tidbit I forgot to tell you. But then I didn't do my exercises to become a guy, because I'm like, oh, I'm seeing fine. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, I can't see so good. I better do those exercises. So I had to go back and do those, because when it's not bugging us, we're like, if I can still play golf, I'm good. Now shifting. This is really, really, really important, especially good for people that are nearsighted, because it involves, when you're looking up close, you want to pick something that you can look at that's in the distance. So you're focused here, and then every hour you want to take time off, do your deep breathing, always deep breathing. People are going to think you're weird, but that's okay. And look off in the distance and focus on something in the distance. And if you can find something that's medium distance in between, so there's something halfway between the far and the near, do that and keep shifting. So that's going to keep those muscles all working and flexible the way you want them to be, working the way you want them to. Edging is another neat thing. Now this one gets a little weird, but that's okay. So whenever you're looking at, like for example, these windows here, if you're looking at that, imagine that that's a rectangle, and you want to trace the shape with your nose like you're tracing it like there's a big pencil coming off your nose, or like some of them call it a feather, and so it's like a big feather, and you go around the corner, and you just kind of realize that as you're looking at each individual section, instead of taking in the whole image, you're focusing on one particular part of the image. You're able to focus a lot better, because that fovea centralis is the focal point where you actually pick up all that information. That's actually only can pick up the tiny little bit. It can't pick up the whole image and make it clear, so you need to focus on one little bit at a time. And you can use this on a Snellen chart, the eye chart. Instead of like, they have the big E usually at the top, just focus on like the upper left-hand corner of the E, and then over on the right-hand corner, and then just kind of move your focus on different areas of that big letter, and that helps a lot. It's called analytic seeing. This is the fusion string. So as we see and going through orthopedic tests and things like that, as chiropractors, we know that you do the cardinal fields of gaze and up and down, up in the corner like so, but also you do accommodation where you have your thumb out like this and it goes towards the thumb, and your eyes kind of go crossed. So what you do with this string, this is really a neat trick. It's not really a trick, it's just how it works. So you have a long string and it has a bead every 6 inches or so. It can be, I mean, some people say 10 feet long, at 3 feet is fine, and every 6 inches. And so you would have it, if you're standing, you'll have it like taped or nailed to the wall, and you hold it up to your nose, and if you look at the front bead, the one closest to you, it looks like this. And you'll see 2 strings going off to the side. It's a really interesting optical illusion. And as you work your way up, if you get towards the middle, you're going to see an X. And then if you look towards the last one, it's going to look like this. And this is the one exercise that I did that I literally could feel the muscles of my eye got tired. And afterwards, I was just kind of like, ow. but it's really a cool thing. And you can do this for 5 minutes a day as well. And I mean, obviously, all these exercises, the more you do them, the more benefit you're going to get. So it just depends on how much time you have and how much of a priority your vision is. So this is not a target. This is for people that have astigmatism, which I was one. And I was told that I had astigmatism. You can't have contacts for it. It's not going to help. Because what an astigmatism is basically is when they say, well, your eyeball is a funny shape. Instead of a nice sphere, it's going to kind of elongate it or whatever. So all you do for these exercises is you focus on a particular part of the circle, and then you go to the next level, and you go out to another one, and then you go out back to the starting point, and you go out over here, and you just work your way around the circle. And all that's doing is working on those extraocular muscles and giving a way to make sure they're all even and balanced out and flexible, but strong at the same time, and that's going to help change the shape of your eye.
Are you looking at it with both eyes or just
both eyes? And here's another version of this. So you can start at the number if you like numbers. And this is the neat thing too. You'll notice if you focus at one particular line, it actually seems to almost like have a 3D effect where it gets darker than the other lines. And so you can kind of play with that and then go all the way from the number all the way back down to the dot and just work your way around the circle. And all these are doing, these are just like eye Olympics to help get your eyes extra strong. So it's just kind of a cool thing. I like that one too. Visualization. This is a fun one. This is another one that's also quite appropriate, and this is described in the book. You sit there and visualize with your eyes closed a boat about to leave, a ship about to go on a journey. And so you're sitting there and you have your eyes closed and you can envision the people walking on the deck and the little guys carrying the little trays and all that stuff. And then they're about to leave and they start to leave, and you envision in your mind that they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And so they're just a little dot on the horizon, you can't see them anymore, and then you do it backwards and they get closer and closer and closer. And just envisioning that and doing that visualization of them getting fuzzier and smaller and then bigger and clearer is just a way to help your brain, because what do we see with our eyes or our brains? Brains. So you're working that brain, and it's a way to do the exercises even with your eyes closed. And you can also do the same thing with a track, like guys running on a track. You're at a starting line on a track and you can see all the guys are about to take off, and they take off and you can see how they get smaller and a little more out of focus in the distance because they're further away, and then they get closer and you're just like, okay, and you just focus on that. And it's just a really cool way to visualize things. So this is going to be really fun. This was a fun, I'll go fast. You really are what you eat. Foods for better vision. Everyone knows the folks are always saying eat more carrots because it's the beta carotene in the carrots. And you're also going to get a complete list that you can have access to for this in a minute, so I'll show you how to do that. It also helps with night vision, which is really good. Eggs, I did not realize this, have lutein and zeaxanthin that are really, really good, like super antioxidants and nutrients for eyes. Also zinc and vitamin D. And the yolk has been shown to help fight cataracts and age-related macular degeneration. So, and don't worry, we're all enlightened here. We know that don't worry about all that cholesterol nonsense. As long as they're good, healthy eggs.
That's no yolk.
That's no yolking. So blueberries are very high in antioxidants. They have vitamin C, and this was really fascinating because I love blueberries. They can actually help decrease the intraocular pressure in your eyeball. So if you have glaucoma or glaucoma runs in your family, then eat a handful of blueberries every day, and that helps to decrease that pressure. And let's see, glaucoma is the second leading cause of blindness in the US. So a handful of blueberries, it doesn't have to be like a whole gallon jug of them or anything, just a handful every day, just consistently. Fatty fish is good for dry eyes. They have the DHA and the omega-3s.
How often?
Well, it depends. Obviously, if it's salmon, you want it to be wild salmon. You don't want it to be the farm raised because of the mercury. You can do smaller fish, mackerel, anchovies, sardines. They're a little stinky, but they're good for you. They're really good. It helps prevent the dry eyes. So, and how often? You can have it probably 2-3 times a week. And they also have supplements. We have a great supplement that's lemon flavor that's phenomenal at the office. And now, next to the blueberries that were so amazing, legumes can help prevent, even if you have cataracts already or the beginning stages, it can help reverse that. It has zinc and the bioflavonoids there. We're talking about lentils, black-eyed peas, things like that. They found that in countries such as India that use a lot of legumes in their nutrition, their diet, that they have a statistically significant lower rate of cataracts. So now I've got your whole meal planned out the rest of the life. You're fine. Blueberries and fish and lentils. Coconut milk, we all know coconut milk's amazing, coconut in general. Caprylic acid, medium chain triglycerides, it helps increase brain function, and it's an antimicrobial. And on the cruise, it's a good natural sunscreen as well. Because there are a lot I did a whole talk, that was I think that was the first talk I did was on sunscreen, wasn't it? Yeah, and all the nanoparticles and all that stuff, it actually can get into the skin. It's scary, so you don't want those kind of stuff. Yeah. Tomatoes, you have the carotenoids and the lycopene, and they can help with light damage of the retina. And anything that has that bright color, anything bright and healthy and alive like that is always going to be good for you. If it comes in a package, don't eat it. Basically, it's one of the, if there's a commercial for it or it comes in a package, don't eat it. This is another surprising thing. Pistachios, as well as the eggs, are high in zeaxanthin and lutein. It can also fight the age-related macular degeneration. They have a lot of commercials for these, but that's okay because pistachios are okay. Dark chocolate, a lot of people love this one because of the antioxidants. Also helps enhance blood flow and is good for low light vision. Tea and coffee is good for preventing all three of those, macular degeneration, cataracts, and dry eyes. Green tea is awesome. Coffee, if you have coffee, they have the bulletproof coffee now. You can put coconut milk or coconut oil in there. You can put, we always recommend putting some nice raw sugar in there to help reduce the amount of taxing on the adrenal glands, which is important. Let's review. So breathing and yawning is really important. We talked about that. It helps oxygenate the blood. Movement is really important. The sway, the long swing, and the other eye movements around in the circle counterclockwise or clockwise. That helps improve flexibility. The analytic vision with the shifting and the edging we talked about with the windows. That improves focus. And the fusion string, it increases your ability to focus by converging or convergence or divergence. That's the word, not the movie. Maybe we can do a quiz here. I'll stand like this. Carrots. What's the benefit of carrots? Do we remember?
Beta-carotene.
Beta-carotene helps night vision. Excellent. What about eggs?
Good yolk. Vitamin D.
It's a good yolk. I like it. Fights cataracts and age-related macular degeneration. Blueberries. Oh, I jumped the gun. Fatty fish. Dry eyes. Yes. Legumes. Oh, I went too fast. Coconut.
Brain function.
Oh, that's a good one. Tomatoes.
Protects eye health.
What?
Protects eye health.
It does. Well, light damage. That'll work. Pistachios.
Fights macular degeneration.
Boom. Did you read? That's crazy. Dark chocolate.
Good for sexy.
There you go. Helps low light vision. Well, that's good too. Low light vision. And tea and coffee. Pretty much everything. There we go. Now this is where you can go and get there's like a downloadable 20 list of all 20 foods. That was only about 10. Now we're going to talk real quickly about chiropractic care and vision. Now the subluxation we've talked about, I'm sure, ad nauseum at this point. Now, subluxation is when the vertebrae is misaligned with other neighboring vertebrae, and that creates pressure on the spinal nerves. Now, initially, it's just a misalignment. Until it starts affecting the organ function or the organ systems, muscles, and other joints, that is when it's called a subluxation. This is the underside of the brain. This is the optic nerve coming out right here. The eyes would be coming out right there. And the oculomotor nerve, that's what moves the eyes. And so this is the brainstem. This is the cerebellum right here, and that is C1. So, and these little arteries going down here go down through the actual vertebrae themselves. So if you've got forward head carriage like this that's putting a strain on the brainstem, do you think that's going to affect vision? If you've got a rotated C1, do you think that's going to put pressure on these arteries and these nerves affecting vision? You guys are so smart. So question, if you have pressure on the nerves that go to the eyes, would that affect your vision? We already answered that question. And what does chiropractic do again? Boom! Okay. So it's a no-brainer. And then I have 2 other books if you guys want to look at those. They're on Amazon.com. This one has over 50 recipes. This one's got all kinds of case studies that are just amazing people that didn't even know they could see better with an adjustment. They came out and like, oh my gosh, I hadn't been able to see out of this eye, and all of a sudden I can see. That's kind of a joke, but kind of true. This is a supplement that's got all that stuff in it, so you don't have to make sure you're eating all your blueberries, lentils in a little mix of gooiness. You can just get the supplement. That is technically not available to the general public yet, but if you send me an email right here within the next week, I'll send you a free bottle. You can try it out.
So where can you get it afterwards?
After that, you'll eventually be able to get it on my website. I didn't pay you to say that either. There's going to be all kinds of fun stuff, video tutorials, articles, newsletters, all kinds of fun stuff, discounts on the products.
Here we are with Dr. DeWitt, vision doctor, vision chiropractor, and partner. Doc, it was amazing. The stuff that you've done, the research, how you're looking at what was done and applying it now to eliminate glasses and restore eyes. Let me tell you, I want to practice it and learn it. Now, what's some of the takeaways that you want people to get from this cruise, and also how do they contact you? What events do you have coming up?
Well, the takeaways basically are just that you don't have to depend on your glasses. They're not, it's like a crutch for a broken leg. You don't really have to have them. You just have to start telling yourself, maybe I don't need my glasses, and try to look at things. When you reach for your glasses, just say, wait a minute, let me just see how I can see without them. And incorporate these exercises, some dietary changes, and you will see clearer naturally, and that's how the body is meant to be. As far as how you can get in touch with me, you can reach me, or the website that I'm working on is called relaxedtoclarity.com, and you can also email me at support@relaxedtoclarity.com. And any events are in the works. I have no idea when the next event is, but I'll have different little specials and things like that, or discounts on the books and the supplement and things like that. So just keep in touch, and I'll make sure you get involved with all those and take the best advantages that you can. I love this cruise. It's awesome. I was here for the first one last year, and it was a lot of fun. They just keep getting better and better, and I look forward to the next one.
Awesome. Buddy, you're amazing. You're going to save lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You rock.
Hey, so was that pretty awesome or what? So, yeah, I'm not technically on a boat, on a big cruise liner out in the Caribbean or anything right now. So the background's not as pretty, but that's okay. So you got the basics, you got the rundown of the Bates method, the nutritional aspects, even the chiropractic and how that can help you. And the reason that I'm wearing the glasses that I'm wearing is that I've been researching Dave Asprey's work, and he's the guy that did the Bulletproof Diet and Bulletproof Coffee and Bulletproof Labs, and he actually works with a company called True Dark, and they have these glasses that are specially made. These are the glasses you wear during the day if you're working at computers, which I tend to sit at computers or under overhead lighting a lot during the day, and it actually blocks the harmful rays that can actually make your brain more fatigued at the end of the day. You also have filters that you can put on your computer. You can even put filters on your cell phones that'll help block some of the blue light that's harmful to brain function. And we're going to go into that. That's just one of the, I mean, that's a huge update and upgrade to what we're going to do in the vision correction Relax to Clarity 2.0 when it does get released. And I'm posting this here on Facebook. I'm going to post it in other social media areas as well. So you can leave your comments below, questions you might have, and that way I can address them. Any topics that you might want to know if your particular condition can be helped from these exercises, if the glasses, you know, how much they are, where you can get them, things like that. So leave your comments. Keep practicing. Keep your health at the top of your priority list, because without your health, you don't have anything. So stay tuned. I'm excited. I will answer any of your questions as soon as I can, and I'll also get the actual full upgraded video course on how to correct your vision. That way it's easier for everybody. You can listen to it or you can watch it, or both, and because some people, their vision has gotten so bad they can't actually even read. So I'm going to give you this the audible version, which is always a good thing. I'm trying to help as many people as I can. So anyway, that's that. Leave your comments, questions, and I will keep you updated on when the big launch of the new Relax to Clarity Clear Vision Challenge 2.0 will be taking place. Have a phenomenal day.